Have you ever encountered someone who constantly seems to be the center of attention? Not just because they are charming, but because it looks like everything revolves around them? Someone who can make you feel good one minute and bad about yourself the next? You may have run into a narcissist, but what is beneath their big stories, confident smiles, and constant demand for praise? We will look at narcissists in this video in a real and deep sense. Not just at how they act, but also at why they act that way. Based on what we know from psychology, we'll show you the truth behind the mask so you can comprehend both the behavior and the person behind it. First, let's speak about what narcissism truly is. It's not just being too self-centered or too sure of yourself. Narcissism is a personality trait that means someone has an exaggerated sense of self-importance, a strong desire for attention and praise, and often a lack of empathy for other people. A lot of people have narcissistic features from time to time, but real narcissism becomes an issue when these traits are always there, persist a long time, and start to hurt relationships or make the person feel bad. At first, narcissists often seem pleasant, confident, and even inspiring. They know how to make others feel important, how to gain trust quickly, and how to fill a room with their presence. This is part of what makes them so interesting and so scary. There is typically a fragile ego, significant insecurity, and a persistent fear of being exposed as unworthy underneath the surface. So, what makes narcissists act the way they do? Many narcissists adopt these behaviors as a way to insulate themselves from feelings of inadequacy or emotional wounds from childhood. According to clinical psychologists who research personality disorders, think about what it would be like to grow up in a place where love was conditional, praise was scarce, or criticism was always there. Some kids learn to deal with things by creating a strong inner self that tells them, "I am better than everyone else." That persona acts as a barrier covering their suffering and weakness. This fake self gets stronger as time goes on. Narcissists need a lot of outside validation, like compliments, position, and control over other people, to feel good about themselves as adults. They feel empty, uneasy, and sometimes even melancholy without it. That's why they often look for people or situations where they may be admired, followed, or obeyed. And when those sources of validation go away, they could move on to new individuals, careers, or projects, anything to keep the illusion going. This is how it works in real life. They need constant care. Narcissists love it when people admire them. They want any kind of attention, regardless if it's praise, pity, or bad attention. If you know a narcissist well, you would notice that most of the time the conversations are about them, their issues, their successes, and their feelings. They might cut you off, divert the issue back to themselves, or trivialize what you've been through. 2, they don't always have empathy. People sometimes get the wrong picture about narcissists when they think they don't care about anyone else. Narcissists can be empathetic, but only when it helps them. For instance, they might comfort someone if it makes them appear good or helps them get something they want, but when there is no gain, they generally don't care about or ignore other people's feelings. 3, they act like a victim or a hero. People with narcissistic personalities often think they are either victims of unfair treatment or heroes who should be recognized. They don't have to take responsibility for their acts, since they think in black and white. It's always someone else's fault when things go wrong. They were the main reason everything went well, even if they didn't do anything. 4, they control other people. Narcissists typically employ manipulation tactics like guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or giving people the quiet treatment to keep control and obtain what they want. At first, these behaviors may not be clear. They might even seem nice or concerned at first, but then you realize they've been gradually pushing you to do something you didn't want to do. 5, they have trouble taking criticism. A narcissist can get very angry or withdraw even if you only say something bad about them. That's because criticism puts their carefully crafted image at risk. Instead of thinking about comments, they typically get defensive and blame others, shift blame, or lash out angrily. 6. The relationships aren't very deep. A lot of narcissists have trouble making deep, lasting bonds. Their relationships usually go through 3 stages: idealization, you are flawless; devaluation, you are defective; and discard, you are no longer useful. People who are stuck in this cycle might be quite hurt, especially if they care a lot about the narcissist. 7. They are afraid of being seen. Many narcissists are terrified that other people will find out who they really are deep down. They're not the wonderful, powerful person they claim to be. They are someone who feels uncertain, flawed, and afraid. This fear makes them act in a lot of ways, like needing to be in charge of talks, control people, and always look for acceptance. Keep in mind that not all narcissists are the same. There are 2 basic sorts of narcissists that psychologists talk about: susceptible narcissists and grandiose narcissists. When you think of a narcissist, you might picture someone who is grandiose, pompous, and in charge. They openly want power and respect. Narcissists who are vulnerable, on the other hand, are more protective and sensitive. They could look shy or insecure, but they still need a lot of reassurance and can get very upset when they think they've been insulted. There is also a range of narcissism. People can be narcissistic from time to time, such when they get a promotion, or under a lot of stress, or feel insecure. But when such traits turn into habits that damage other people and make it hard to have good relationships, that's a problem. A lot of people want to know if a narcissist can change. Psychologists think it is doable, but very hard. Most narcissists don't think their behavior is wrong. They think people should just accept and admire them as they are. Therapy can assist, especially if the person wants to face their fears and is willing to do so. But if you don't want to change, it's rare that you will. What does this entail for people who are romantically, professionally, or personally involved with a narcissist? First, you need to realize that the narcissist's actions don't say anything about your value. A lot of people who are stuck in these situations blame themselves and question what they did wrong. But the truth is that the narcissist's actions come from inside them, not from what other people do or don't do. Second, it's really important to define limits. Narcissists like to test the limits, so it's important to be clear and firm about what you will and won't put up with. Boundaries are a way to keep your feelings safe and stop someone from using you. Third, don't try to modify them. Trying to change a narcissist usually ends in frustration and despair. Instead, think on how to protect yourself and make choices that are good for your mental health. Lastly, ask for help. Talking to friends, family, or a therapist can help you see things more clearly and give you strength. It takes time to get over the effects of narcissistic abuse, whether it was emotional, verbal, or mental, but it is possible to heal. To sum up, a narcissist's life may look spectacular from the outside, full of confidence, charm, and praise. But the truth beneath the facade is complicated and often terrible. A continual desire for approval, a fear of being found out, and a hard time connecting with others in a real way. Psychology helps us understand narcissism by showing us not just the behavior, but also the person behind it, someone who is often hurting, even though they act tough. If you've ever been bewildered or overwhelmed by someone who acts like a narcissist, you're not the only one. The first steps toward healing and getting your calm back are to see the signs, grasp the reasons, and safeguard your own health. Thanks for watching. If this video helps you learn more about narcissism, then like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one. Keep learning, stay strong, and remember that your worth doesn't depend on what others think of you.